You'll be in one with fireworks and off-the-rail fun.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. Hey, look over there, boys and girls, on Facebook. That's Jeff Tobin, and he's in the studio with us this morning. Our conversation with Jeff brought to you by Marcus & Mack, voted best personal injury law firm in the Best of Indiana County contest. Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Anytime Jeff is with us, I'm just tempted to say, I'm going to leave the studio and let you go. Just let you roll.
I know a lot of people would like to just let me go. My wife would be top of that list.
There you go. But I'm pumped. So Jeff Tobin, you put out the release for this new book that you've written, which is why you're here today. And on the release, there's a sort of a listing of things that you have done in your amazing life. And it's all true, or at least some portion of it is.
Yes.
Of the very, very many things that you have done in your lifetime, but they have actually led to a book that you put together called Life, Work, Legacy.
Yes, sir.
How long were you thinking, I want to do something like that?
That's a really interesting question. It became a challenge, Todd, and thanks for having me today. I'm just glad to see you again. It was just like a long-term thing. I've always kind of thinking philosophically. That doesn't mean it's good. It's just that's how my brain works. And so I just started writing ideas down, and eventually, just from my experience with working with entrepreneurs and things, I started writing for the Gazette. Mm-hmm. And once a week I'd write. Well, that went on for 5 years or so. So I ended up collecting a bunch of these, and mothers being what they are, Jeff, you need to write it into a book. I will help you. So
I will help you part with.
Well, yeah, she would. She would definitely want to have some input, but she had a lot of input into me. So there's that.
Mom's great.
Oh, it's true. My mom's 93 right now, and she's still pushing. Jeff, do this. You can do this. You can. Yeah. She's always been a good pusher. Yeah. Yeah. But not the drug kind. It's just like pushing me. Yeah. Right.
The full title of the book is Life, Work, Legacy: The Entrepreneur's Guide to a Life That Matters. And it is a compilation of many of the articles that you wrote in those times, but many of your life experiences as well have contributed to this.
That's right. Go ahead.
You actually have a book signing event that is going to be happening tomorrow. We'll tell folks now, and then we'll tell them again at the end of our visit here this morning. So you're at the Artist Hand Gallery tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning, 9 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping they'll sell some more panini. I'm not going to sell a lot of books, but it's just a lot of fun, and those guys are fantastic.
Yeah, they really are. So, yeah. They really are. But you'll be there. You'll sign the book for folks.
I will.
And they can stop by and visit with you there. We'll tell folks about that again.
Oh, thank you.
But when you put the book together, and it always fascinates me to talk to somebody who has done this, especially somebody local. Did it go the direction that you thought it was going to?
I'm just going to wax philosophical for a moment. That is exactly how life works. The answer is it never really goes the way. Unless you, Mom, Dad, I want to be a dentist, mm-hmm. And that's really where you want to go. And so you go to school and you follow those things. For most of us, I've found that, we set a direction and we go to school, or we go to a trade school, or we do some other things. And we make a plan for our future, and it ends up being, really just a different place. Mm-hmm. And it can always be fantastic. It just doesn't. It's really hard to tell where you're going to go. It's kind of like driving from here to Pittsburgh. There's going to be construction somewhere, and there's going to be a detour, but you get to a place that you want to be. So that's kind of how this worked.
We had a little item earlier this morning. That guys at MIT have come up with this new chatbot thing, an AI thing, where you can actually ask your future self for advice. This AI thing will develop your future self. You'll input your information now, and they'll age you up, and then you can ask yourself for advice.
So
about
did you
life.
do it? Did you do it?
It's not available yet.
Oh,
but in lieu of that, I've got your book now.
Oh, yeah.
because the book seems to do a lot of that for us.
Oh, you do have a copy of the book. Oh, wow, that's pretty amazing.
Actually, I don't.
Well, you do now because I've got one right here for you.
Great.
I'll
What is a
hold it up for
life
our
that
Facebook
matters, Jeff Tobin?
A life that matters. Well, that's a great question. Do you have any other really good questions?
Well, you think on that
That's
one?
a hard one. Yeah. Actually, here's what I found. In talking to mostly it's entrepreneurs, and people tell me that I had to focus on one audience. That's what they say. You know, in my experience has been with entrepreneurs and business people. But people who get the book say this really isn't just for entrepreneurs because it talks about a lot of life experience. But what I used to always joke about, and it turned out to be really kind of true. A lot of people that I know, they're in business, and what are your goals? And we'll talk about their future selves. And what are your goals? What do you want to do? And it really kind of comes down to, and this sounds like a joke, but it really isn't. I'm going to amass my wealth, and I'm going to, get my houses or whatever they're going to do, build their business and expand around the world. And then they're going to retire, and then they're going to die on the golf course, And that to me, just it sounds funny, but it really is a kind of a way that people think about things. And for me, I think about what do I want, not what do I want to do with my life, but what do I want to have done with my life? And it's a different kind of perspective because as morbid as it might sound, I like to ask people to think about if you're on your deathbed, what are the things that are going through your head? And there's a wonderful book called The 5 Regrets of the Dying.
Uh-huh.
And it's a woman who worked in hospice care, and she wrote this book, and it was fascinating because it asked what it came up with was almost no interest that people had in their work and those kinds of things, but it was always about regrets they had, people they loved, family, relationships. Mm-hmm. And I want people to get to that place in their life and to be able to have addressed in their heads and in their hearts the things that really matter. And for entrepreneurs, it's unique because they're always building, and focusing on building their wealth and growth and those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. I don't want them to get to the end, as I've seen with a lot of entrepreneurs, and say, what did I did? Why did I do all this? And that's really what the book is. That's why it's kind of philosophical.
For so many people, the end game, the end life, is so far off, they think, that they really don't bring it into focus. And they live an aimless life waiting for that time when, okay, I can see the finish line out there and where I want to be when I get to it. Yeah. And it's now finally beginning to come into focus. It seems to me, just, from what I've read of you and know of you from all these years that I've known you, that it would be great if people would sort of bring that into focus a whole lot earlier in their life. And it would be very, very helpful to them.
But you're right. I mean, that's what we do. We don't like to think about it. We don't want to think about it. We just want to think about where we think we're going to go. So a lot of people are asked the question by coaches like myself. They'll say, where do you want to be 5 years from now? Where do you want to be 10 years? Where do you want to be 30 years from now? And so people are always thinking about growth. But really, the entrepreneur life is, I believe, is to give people the ability to grow so they can utilize that growth and wealth to affect people in positive ways. Mm-hmm. So that it's not just a matter of giving back, but it's merely a reflection of who do you want to have been in your life? What kind of life do you want to have had? And so that way your business becomes a tool to help you do the things that you want and to be of grace and helpful to other people, rather than just growing it and then, dying whenever you do.
Tell me about putting this book together. How did you organize it?
Well, it's kind of like that life thing we were talking about. You start with one idea. This is what I want to accomplish. And then it ends up being something else, which can be, in life, it can be fantastic. You go to school to be this and you end up being something else, but you still have a wonderful life. So the book was like that. I actually started writing a book called The 6 Powers of Purpose. And I got way into it. And then I realized it wasn't going where I thought it might. Mm-hmm. And so I started compiling these 160 little essays I always call it a bathroom book because you could just put it there and read, a page and a half or 2 pages and stop. But it just worked out well that I'd already started writing a lot of these thoughts, and I just keep putting ideas down and then writing, and eventually it became this. I'm done with it. It's like I wanted to do this before I, shuffled off this mortal coil.
Some people would be very, very upset if they put a bunch of work into something, anticipating that it would lead in a certain direction, and it didn't go in that direction, and they would be tempted to just say, "Quit! I'm not good enough," or "It's not good enough," and I'm stopping and going to go do something else.
Yeah,
you didn't do that.
Wiser words has never been spoke. I think Bugs Bunny said that once, and it's really true. You start with one, but I always like to say, you make decisions in life. Things you either create change yourself in your own life, or change happens to you. One of the two. And I think people worry about, I didn't do this, or I didn't do what I wanted to accomplish. And the book for me was just something I wanted to accomplish. I'm not going to sell 1 million books. I'm not going to make it. I just wanted to accomplish it for myself and be of help to people that I could. Mm-hmm. But everybody's life takes weird turns, but it's you can make something wonderful out of almost everything that happens. So you just take what comes at you, or you take the changes that you make, and then just decide, what can I do with this? What will I do with this? And then it's not a matter of what goals that I missed. It's a matter of what can I do with what I'm, with my direction now. It's fascinating. Relax. It's very relaxing.
The book is called Life, Work, Legacy, The Entrepreneur's Guide to a Life That Matters. Jeff Tobin is going to be at the Artist Hand Gallery tomorrow morning from when to when?
9 to 1.
From 9 until 1.
Yeah.
And you can stop by. You can get a copy of the book. You'll autograph it for them.
Yeah.
You'll draw pictures for them.
They won't want that.
You'll sing to them. You'll dance or whatever.
I'm just happy to see people, and the coffee's great.
There you go.
And so are the panini.
There you go. As long as you're in the neighborhood.
Thank you, Todd.
Jeff, thanks so much for coming by.
Thank you, sir.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. Getting a little bit late here for Boomer, but it's Boomer Sports Time here on Indiana in the Morning, as Jeff shows our Facebook viewers the Life Works Legacy book. I got to the very end, Jeff, and I messed it up.
Don't let your life do that, right?
See?
Okay.
There's always an application.
There you go.
This is Boomer Science with the Sports Minute, sponsored by Relief Factor, the natural way to reduce or even eliminate pain, with Belmont Park undergoing renovations. Tomorrow's mile-and-a-quarter Belmont Stakes will be staged in upstate Saratoga Springs. Now, it features a showdown between Kentucky Derby winner Mystic Dan and Preakness champ Seize the Gray. However, the early 9-5 favorite in the 10-horse field is Derby runner-up Sierra Leone. Boomer Science.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio